Hi everybody, today's video is a quick headband made on a 22 needle knitting machine. First we will cast on the machine, starting with the black needle, going one in the front, one in the back for the first row. Then put it in the yarn feeder and close the little door, and then you crank for 5 rows. We are casting and put the waste yarn. Now it's time to add the color that we use for our headband. Put that in there in the middle. Don't attach those two together. And as you could see, I have a little space before them because I did make a little mistake, but it's okay. I just put it there. And you could put also the waste yarn in front of that needle, but me, I decided to use the blue one. And then you will crank for 84 for kids and 88 for an adult. 84 for kids, 84 for an adult. So I will continue to crank. I put that a little fast. I know it's because it's going to be boring if you look at it like for a few minutes. So now when it's touched the table, it's time to roll your work to prevent drop stitch, because too much tension on the needle could provoke drop stitch. So time to cut the yarn and do the cast off. I will cut the yarn, put my yellow in the middle, bring my waste yarn and put that aside in the middle like this. Don't attach those two together because we will need the waste yarn to attach to close our tube at the end. So time to crank for 5 rows. I cut my yarn, continue to crank, and it will be released by itself from the machine. When it's done, it's time to crank your tube, not crank your tube, stretch your tube and fix your little knot. Make sure it's very tight and cut the excess. I always keep like 2 or 3 centimeters. It's like an inch if you're more comfortable with inch. So time to put my work in the right side and keep stretch it in. And now it will be the time to close our tube. So for our tube, I will pull the black outside to be able to see my real stitch. So my yarn is yellow and I will close it with a 4.5 hook. So I will close it like this, grab one stitch and go on the other side. It's very important to use contrasting yarn because you will see better your stitch. So in this case I use black for the waste yarn, so the yellow pop up, and very easy to go and grab it with our hook. If you're not comfortable with a hook, it's okay. I will provide in the video description 5 ways to close a tube. So if you're not comfortable with a hook yet, still learning, you may be comfortable with the option number 3 with a wool needle. It's not the perfect way, I know, but at least it will give you an option to make a lot of project till you get more comfortable with a hook. So time to arrive at the end like this. Make sure you got all the stitches, very important to prevent drop stitch. And you see, even if I'm very careful when I will do the blue one, the blue part, the other hand, I will have a drop stitch. So if it's happened to you, you will be able to fix it because I will show you how I fix it. So very important to grab all the stitches, and then at the end, the last one, you close the tail with the tail, your rope. So now it's time to remove the waste yarn. Usually the waste yarn from the release at the end, it's very easy to remove like this. You just pull on your yarn and voila, it's done. But on the other side, when you do the cast on, it will be a little bit fussy sometime. So I will pass that part a little bit faster, I know, but at the end I will share with you how I close it, because I already show you the other side. So it's the same thing for this part. Very important to close both sides of your tube to be able to create your headband. I have other kind of headband on my channel. If you're not comfortable with this one, very not comfortable at all with a wool needle or a hook, I have a very easy one. It's like a white and pink, I think, and it's for beginners. So if go get a free visit in my YouTube channel and you will find it. So sometimes it's good to have a little hook, loom hook. Oops, I got two. I made a little mistake, but it's okay. You won't see it at the end. See, I do mistake too. You're not alone. So I close it like this. Now I put it very slow. It's time to remove the knot. There's a knot that the machine do. You have to remove it. Pull on it. When you get it, it's very easy after that. You have to remove the first row of yarn. That's the yarn knot. Here, I got the right one. And now it's time to just remove the first row of your work, of your waist yarn. So I remove it like this. I pull very gently. If you go too fast, it will get all stuck and you will end up cutting your yarn. And you want to save it for another project. Waist yarn is always good to have close to your machine, little ball of yarn ready to go. See, you pull on it. So now here I have a drop stitch. I'll show you. It's not really a drop stitch, it's a stitch that I didn't grab correctly. So with my hook I will just go like this and pull and do another stitch like this to close it correctly, like this. So time to stretch again our work and to hide our tail of yarn. Like this. This part is done. I will go on the other side. As you could see, my headband is different color. I use some waist, not the waist yarn, but leftover yarn that I have at home. So for the faux graft, I use a black yarn just to show you better how I did it. If you do that for your project, use the same color of yarn. It will look better. But I use the black just to show you correctly what I did. So I grab a full stitch on one side and come back here and grab a full stitch, and I keep myself on the same rows so that way my headband will not end up all crooked. So I go like this, continue, grab one stitch, full stitch on one side and one full stitch on the other side. And like I said, you don't use black yarn. You use the same color yarn. But you see, when you pull on it, you don't really see it. But with black yarn, it's very hard to hide it. But that's why I use it. So be easier to see for people who watch the video. So that's the faux graft technique to attach your headband. If you want, you could end up just doing the faux graft on one side like this, finish it like around here now. But if you don't, like me, and decide to do on the other side, you will continue to sew it together like that. There. Oops. This. Keep going like this. Almost finished. Very important to not pull too much on your yarn, because you will prevent it to stretch if you go too tight. So just pull a little bit at a time when you pull on your yarn. At the end, make sure it will be stretched and comfortable on head. Almost there. Keep continue. Keep going. And when I will reach my tail of yarn that I start with, I will be attaching it and hide it between the two layers of my headband. Very easy, as you could see. You could use the same technique for scarf, an infinity scarf, and it will be just fine. Will look okay and will be just warm like you want it to be. there, grab the last stitch here, and then I will cut the yarn. See, I could stretch it, it's good. Stretch, stretch, stretch. See, it look great. Even if we see the black, but like I said, use yellow if you work with yellow, use black if you use black, and it will look better. You won't see through. Because me with the black cutter, you could have the chance to see through it. And you don't want that usually. But I did that just for the video to make sure that people could follow it and see correctly how I did the faux craft. There. So if you're still here at 10:46, can you put a smiley face in the comment, and we'll be just happy to see it. So thank you, and see you next week for a new video. Ciao, ciao. Thank you for watching.